If you've ever felt like selling your consultancy services is something you have to endure rather than something you do with confidence, then you're going to love this video. Over the last few videos in this playlist, I've walked you through a way to sell that doesn't rely on pressure tactics, endless convincing, or being at all salesy. It's about becoming the trusted authority that your ideal clients want to work with, and it's about turning conversations into clients naturally. In this video, I'm going to show you some practical steps to make selling with power a reality in your business. Let's rewind quickly. In the first videos in this playlist, and you'll find links to those videos in the description below, we started looking at why traditional selling doesn't work for consultants. We looked at the ABCs of selling, always be closing, and looked at how that methodology is really all about convincing and persuasion rather than building relationships. And we talked about why pressure and convincing and persuasion are typically the only ways we've learnt to sell because of the model that is predominant in the way that people have learnt to sell. But when it comes to selling consultancy services, it's really not at all about a transaction. It's about the start of a relationship. So the concept of always be closing is totally anathema to starting a relationship. So we want to be doing the things that build trust, build authority with our clients, and ideally even before we get into a sales meeting, so that when we enter the sales meeting with our clients or potential clients, as the case may be, they already see us as an authority in what we do. They see us as having the capability to solve their problem. And ideally, they already want us to have the solution that they can just sign up with. And the purpose of the sales meeting is just to clarify any details and overcome any trust resistance levels that might still exist. So when we can build trust and authority, even before the sales meeting, we enter that sales meeting in a much better place than traditionally entering a sales meeting where none of those trust elements are built. But even in the sales meeting, then we talk about the power system. So positioning yourself as the authority both before the meeting and during the meeting, having that demeanor of an authority, treating the sales meeting as if it's a medical appointment where you're the authority, you're the expert who is able to diagnose the patient's situation. You're able to diagnose what's wrong with them and recommend the solution for them. So in our process of then beyond positioning yourself as the authority, owning the agenda of the meeting, taking control of the meeting and having a structured approach where you can take your potential client through the things that you need to do to be able to understand their situation clearly, and also to help them think through the implications of their situation and what happens if they don't get the problem solved, so that their motivation to undertake your solution is raised through that meeting. Then to win their trust, and to do that through that diagnostic process where by asking intelligent questions you demonstrate you're an authority. Authority comes through demonstration, not proclamation. When we proclaim that we're experts, people tend to not believe anything we say. But when we demonstrate our expertise, they will build trust and learn to see us as an authority in what we do because of the demonstration that we really know what we're talking about. Then we educate them around what they need to do to achieve the solution for their problem, or really talking about what the end result looks like for them, what their life would look like if they had the solution. And then finally, we recommend what that solution will be and how they can work with us to achieve that solution. So when we adopt that power framework in our sales and marketing approach, we get away from the need to be persuading and convincing people to use our services. We're able to enter a conversation with confidence and conduct that conversation with the confidence that we are the authority, that the client already sees us as the authority, and the purpose of the sales meeting is really just to rubber stamp what we've already emotionally agreed to and what the client is emotionally bought into to want to adopt your solution. And this isn't theory. I've also in the previous videos showed you or talked about my client Dom, who learnt this process and started to use this process and very quickly had clients really changing their demeanor in the sales meetings. And again, I'll put a link to the video in the description below in case you haven't seen Dom's discussion with me about what happened in a particular sales meeting where he was trying to, or a client was trying to lowball him on price. He was trying to put pressure on Dom to lower his prices, but by using the power framework and having that authority positioning and authority demeanor, was able to talk to the client in a way that logically the client then saw the value of what he was buying into, and price stopped becoming the issue in the situation. It was only then about the logistics of how to work together. So Dom very quickly discovered a greater degree of confidence and ability to sell more effectively, but not only sell more effectively, but overcome price resistance and overcome a lot of the typical traps that we fall into when we're selling our consultancy services. And he saw that clients respected him more and were much more willing to sign a contract rather than ask for a proposal. And best of all, the whole process felt more natural. It felt more of a personal interaction and a relationship building exercise than that typical sales process that he was used to. So how can this work for you too? So listen carefully to some simple steps that you can start to take to implement the power framework into your business. Now, the first thing you need to do, I recommend, is to write what I call a core content article. So it doesn't need to be a long article. It could be a 20-page ebook or maybe a complete book like one of mine, but it doesn't have to be that. When I started out, I had a 2-page document that explained the problem that our clients were facing. It talked about the ramifications of those problems if they weren't solved. It talks about how to solve that problem. It provides proof that that solution that you offer works, and that could be through testimonials or case studies, or one or two, very short. You only need a couple of sentences to provide the proof. And then the next step you want them to take, which may be to book a call with you to discuss your services. And really, that's all you need at this stage. As you're getting started in this process, a 2-page core content document that positions you as the authority. So it shows the clients that you understand their situation. It shows them that you have a solution that's worked in the past, and it shows them how to take the next step with you. The next step then is, before you accept a meeting or before you schedule a meeting with a client, to have a qualifying process. So this could be a short introductory call, maybe a 15-minute to 30-minute intro call, where the whole purpose of that call is really to qualify whether that client is an ideal client for you. We don't want to waste our time on discovery calls, or particularly if you still travel to your clients' offices to conduct these sales meetings. We don't want to waste time with unqualified clients or clients that are less than ideal. If we're going to use this process, we want to make sure that we're maximizing our opportunities with premium clients. So we want to have that qualification process. Now, this could be an online questionnaire where you take your clients through a series of questions that position you as the authority, but also helps you understand their situation, and you can determine whether they are qualified to move forward to a sales meeting. So there are a number of ways to do this, but you need that qualification step to really, again, elevate your authority in the process, to show them that they can't just dictate terms to you. They can't just say, I want a sales meeting, here's when we want it. It's about making them jump through some hoops to show them that, first of all, your time is valuable, but also you are an authority. You're the one who's in control. And again, just like booking an appointment with a doctor, you need to go through a process. And typically, if you live in the part of the world that I live in, you can't just walk into a doctor's office and demand an appointment. You need to book ahead, and sometimes that's several weeks ahead to be able to book an appointment with the doctor that you want to see. So we want to have that same mentality in our clients, that we are the authority and they need to book time into our calendar, not just be able to demand that they get to see us any time they want. The next step then is to create the framework or the structure for your meeting, the agenda for your meeting that you will own in that meeting. So what does that agenda look like? How does it break down? What are the steps that you will take your clients through so that you can do that diagnosis? So have some prompts. How will you open the meeting, and maybe even script out the first couple of sentences in the meeting so you've got the confidence when you go in to know exactly what you need to say to start the meeting off with authority. Then what other steps do you need to take them through? How will you understand their current situation? How will you understand their level of motivation to proceed with a solution? Do they have the resources necessary to apply to building that solution or working through that solution with you? You want to know all those things before you offer your solution. And again, we need this framework so that we aren't tempted to jump to the solution too quickly. As we've talked about in the previous videos in this playlist, the tendency for consultants is to offer the solution as soon as we hear what the problem is. When a client presents with a problem and we know how to solve it, we want to jump in and say, here's how we can solve that, and convince them that they need to work with us. We want to take that away. We want to draw them into the solution. We want to build their motivation, and we can do that by the right structured process as we win their trust and educate them about what living with the solution looks like before we recommend our approach. So build out that structure for your meeting so that you can follow that structure and build a process where you recommend a solution. And here is where you can avoid having to present a proposal. If you have the right clients in front of you, if they're premium clients who have the typical problem that you are able to solve for them in the best way, then almost all of your proposals or all of your recommendations for the solution will be very similar. And if that's not the case, you want to create your business model so that you can start them off with an easy yes option to get the ball rolling. We don't want to present a big, challenging decision to make. We want to make that first step to start working with you a simple step that they can do easily, even if it leads into other levels of service or the next stages of your service. And we want to framework that. We want to map out that framework of how you work with clients and say, well, here's the first step. Here's how we can get started when you want to start. And by approaching it in that way, you often get clients to say, yes, let's go ahead with that. And you don't need a proposal, you just need the contract. So build all that into your system and start using that as you use the power approach in your sales methodology. Now, if you want to know more about how to get clients on command using the power methodology and using what I call strategic authority marketing, I've created a workshop that I call Clients on Command, where during that workshop, we'll take you through exercises to help you position yourself as the authority. We'll help you understand exactly what you need to do to be seen as the authority. We'll help you position your strategies and create your sales frameworks and practical scripts to use so that you can run confidently with structured sales conversations that convert your potential clients into paid up clients. So if you want to know more about that Clients on Command workshop, again, check out the link in the description below. That will give you all of the details about what's involved in that Clients on Command workshop, and get started. Don't try to create all this yourself. I've told you what needs to be done, but often when we read things and when we think, I'll give that a go, when it comes to actually putting it on paper or describing it, it's more challenging than it sounds. And this is one of those situations where having my guidance through the Clients on Command workshop will give you much more clarity about each of those steps and how to apply it in your business. So check out in the description below how to get started with the Clients on Command workshop and how to start using power in your sales conversations so that you can convert more clients on command to become paid up clients for your services. And when you do that, you'll find that everything changes. You don't have to continue to endure sales conversations and struggle with them and look forward or towards them with dread and lack of confidence. You can change all that when you position yourself as the authority so that people see you as a go-to solution for how to solve their problem. When you sell with power and get clients on command, everything will change in your business. There'll be nothing holding you back.